dynamic between you and this person that has been playing out in a very interesting way. I feel like the cards are immediately pulling up a situation where someone made a move and it did not land the way they planned. The energy here is showing me a test, a deliberate one, and the result was not what this person expected. They pulled back, they created distance, they waited to see what you would do with it. I feel like the expectation was that you would reach out, that you would close the gap, that you would chase. The cards are showing me that instead, you did something this person was not prepared for at all. You held your ground, you stayed in your lane, and you did not move toward them. I feel like that response, or rather that non-response, has completely disrupted their internal narrative. Because this person had a script and you did not follow it, and now they do not know what page they are on. The cards are showing me that the energy around this person right now is genuinely unsettled. Not in a dramatic way, but in the quiet way that comes when someone realizes they misread the room. I feel like they assumed a certain level of need from you, a certainty that you would come running. That assumption was wrong, and the cards are showing me that the realization of that has shaken something loose in them. The energy around the current connection is one of a reversal. The power has shifted and they felt it. I feel like what is interesting about this reading is that you did not do anything aggressive or calculated. You simply did not perform for them. And that alone was enough to change the entire dynamic. The cards are showing me that your stillness, your self-possession, was read as something much more significant. To this person, your silence was louder than any message you could have sent. I feel like they are now in a position they are not used to being in, and it is uncomfortable for them. The cards are also showing me that this discomfort is productive. It is revealing things to them that comfort never would. There is a reckoning happening on their side, a quiet but real one, and it started the moment you did not chase. I feel like they keep replaying it, wondering if they pushed too far, wondering if the test backfired. The cards are showing me that it did backfire, not in a damaging way, but in a way that has forced their hand. Because when you set a trap and nothing walks into it, you are left alone with the trap you built. I feel like that is exactly where this person is right now, sitting with what they created and not liking the view. The energy here is showing me that there is a genuine confusion on their end, a real one. They do not understand you the way they thought they did, and that gap in their understanding is growing. I feel like the cards want you to know that what you did, even if it came from a place of simply knowing your worth, was powerful. The energy around you in this situation is composed, it is grounded, and it is commanding a kind of respect. The cards are showing me that the current energy of this connection sits entirely in your favor. I feel like the dynamic has turned in a way that this person did not anticipate, and it has their full attention. The question they are wrestling with right now is not whether you care. It is whether they made a mistake. The cards are confirming that they already know the answer. They are just not ready to say it out loud yet. The cards are also showing me that this is not the first time this person has used distance as a tool. There is a pattern here, a way of operating that has worked for them before with other people. I feel like something about who you are and how you carry yourself disrupted that pattern entirely. The energy is showing me that what they are experiencing right now is a kind of recalibration. They are updating their understanding of who you are, what you value, and what it actually takes to keep your attention. I feel like that update is happening slowly, but it is happening, and the cards confirm it is already changing how they see you. The cards are also showing me that the current atmosphere between you two carries a very specific tension. Not the kind that breaks things, but the kind that precedes something on as something necessary. I feel like the air between you right now is full, and it is waiting for someone to finally speak into it. The energy of this connection is very much alive, and it is very much in motion. Now let's see what is coming through. Let's continue and see what is on your side. Because the cards have a lot to say about where you are emotionally, and it is worth slowing down here. The energy coming from your side is not what most people would expect, and that is exactly what makes it powerful. I feel like you are not sitting in anxiety about this. You are not refreshing conversations or second guessing yourself. The cards are showing me someone who made a quiet internal decision, maybe without even fully naming it. That decision was, I am not going to perform for someone who is testing me. I feel like that decision did not come from ego. It came from a bone deep sense of what you will and will not accept. The cards are showing me that your emotional state in this situation is one of the clearest I have seen. There is a self awareness here, a knowing that tells you exactly when something does not sit right. I feel like when this person pulled back something in you, recognize it immediately, not with alarm, but with clarity. You saw the move for what it was, and you chose not to respond to it on its own terms. The cards are showing me that that level of discernment is not something everyone has, and it is not something you learned overnight. There is a history behind this clarity, lessons that shaped you, moments that taught you how to read energy without flinching. I feel like those experiences, as difficult as some of them may have been, built something solid in you. The cards are also showing me that on the surface you may appear unbothered, and in many ways you genuinely are, but underneath that composure, there is still feeling, there is still care, and the cards see both. I feel like you are not indifferent to this person. Indifference would not carry this kind of energy. What you are is clear, and clarity and indifference are two very different things. The cards are showing me that part of what you are navigating emotionally is the question of whether this person is actually worth your softness. Because you have softness, a real depth of it, but it is not something you hand out carelessly. I feel like you have learned that the people who test you are often not the people who deserve the version of you that trusts freely. The cards are also showing me that there is a quiet observation happening on your end. You have not walked away. You have not written this off. You are watching, and you are waiting to see what this person does next. I feel like that watching has a quality of patience to it, not passive patience, but the active kind. The kind that says, I see what is happening and I am going to let it reveal itself fully before I decide. The cards are showing me that emotionally you hold a standard, and that standard is not negotiable. It is not a wall. It is not coldness. It is simply a knowledge of what a real connection looks like versus a performance. I feel like you have been in situations before where you gave more than was returned, and that recalibrated something in you permanently. The cards are also showing me that there is a part of you that is curious about this person despite everything, not in a desperate way, but in the way of someone who has seen something real underneath the behavior and wants to know if it can surface. I feel like that curiosity is legitimate, and the cards are not asking you to dismiss it. The energy on your side is showing me someone who is anchored, who is not being moved by noise, only by substance. The cards are showing me that the emotional intelligence you are bringing to this situation is exceptional. I feel like most people would have either chased or shut down entirely, and you did neither. You stayed open, you stayed present, but you did not shrink. And that is a very specific kind of strength. The cards are confirming that the position you are in right now, emotionally and energetically, is exactly where you need to be. The cards are also showing me that you carry a very particular kind of energy, one that is hard to ignore. They were wrong, and the cards are showing me that realizing that has rattled something in their confidence, the energy on your side also carries a quiet peace, the kind that comes from not betraying yourself. I feel like even if this situation feels uncertain on the outside, inside you there is a steadiness that is not shaking. The cards are showing me that you already know your value in this. You do not need this person to confirm it. That knowing is the most powerful thing you are bringing to this dynamic, and it is shifting everything. The cards are showing me that your self trust in this moment is not accidental, it was built. And is that self trust more than anything else that is holding the entire dynamic in your favor right now? Now let's move forward and see what is coming through. Now let's go deeper and see what is underneath this, because I want to get into what is actually driving this person beneath the test, beneath the strategy. The cards are pulling up something very specific here, and I want you to pay attention to it. I feel like when we look at the real motive behind what this person did, it is not as confident as it appeared. The test was not a power move from a place of strength. It was a defense mechanism from a place of insecurity. The cards are showing me that this person was afraid, and the test was a way of managing that fear without admitting to it. I feel like they reached a point in this connection where the feeling got too big, and that scared them. So instead of sitting with that vulnerability, they created a situation where the outcome was in their control. The cards are showing me that this person has a strong need to feel in control of emotional situations, because in the past, caring without having that control led to something painful for them. I feel like there is a wound underneath this behavior, not an excuse, but a context. A version of them that got too invested, gave too much, and came away from it feeling exposed and foolish. The cards are showing me that since then, this person has built a system, a way of pre-testing people before they allow themselves to feel. I feel like the test with you was not unique. It is a pattern they run, but the result this time was unprecedented. Because every time before, the other person chased, the pattern worked, the control was maintained. The cards are showing me that you are the first person who did not complete the circuit, and that has broken something open in them. I feel like the confusion they are feeling right now is not just about you, it is about their whole system failing. The thing they built to protect themselves did not protect them this time, and now they are exposed anyway. The cards are also showing me that beneath the shock, there is a creeping realization that they may have been wrong about how they approach connection. I feel like something is being confronted in them, something uncomfortable but necessary. The cards are showing me that this person is also wrestling with a very specific question. Did they lose something real by playing a game with something that deserved honesty? I feel like that question is sitting with them heavily, and they do not have a clean answer for it. The energy around their motives is showing me that what they actually wanted from you was never really the chase. What they wanted was reassurance. They wanted to know that you would not disappear, that you valued the connection. I feel like the test was a clumsy, guarded way of asking something they did not have the courage to ask directly. The cards are showing me that this person struggles to ask for what they need without wrapping it in a test or a game. Because asking directly means risking a direct rejection, and that is the thing they are most afraid of. I feel like they have never quite learned how to be straightforward about their needs without armoring up first. The cards are also showing me that there is genuine feeling underneath all of this, a real one. This person did not run a test on someone they did not care about. The test itself was a form of caring, just a distorted one. I feel like the irony is not lost on the cards. They put up a wall with someone they actually wanted to let in. The energy around their motives is complex. It is layered. It is shaped by fear more than intention. But the cards are clear that underneath the strategy, underneath the confusion, there is a person who genuinely wants you. Not in a casual way, not in a passing way, but in the way of someone who has been trying to protect something they already considered valuable. The cards are showing me that their behavior came from attachment, even if it looked like detachment. I feel like understanding that does not mean excusing it, it just means seeing the full picture. The full picture is someone who likes you more than they showed, and is now sitting in the consequences of how they chose to show it. The cards are also showing me that this person has been replaying interactions between you two, looking for clues. They are trying to piece together when things shifted, what they missed, what signal they overlooked. The cards are showing me that their ego and their heart are in direct conflict right now. The heart is saying something very different, and the heart is winning, even if it is not obvious yet. I feel like the internal tension this person is sitting in right now is significant, and it is pointing them toward a decision. The cards are confirming that the motive that started all of this has now flipped, and they are the one needing to prove something. Let's keep going and see what is here for you. Now let's move forward and see what is coming through. Because the cards are ready to show us exactly what this person is about to do next. And I want you to understand what is coming is very different from what came before. I feel like the energy around their next move is no longer calculated. It is reactive, and that is a significant shift. The cards are showing me that this person is going to break first. The silence is becoming unbearable for them. They created the distance, they thought it would work in their favor, and now they are trapped inside it. I feel like every day that passes without a response from you tightens something in their chest a little more. The cards are showing me that they are going to reach out, and when they do, the tone is going to be noticeably different. Gone is the cool, the strategy, the carefully managed energy. What is coming through now is someone who is off balance. I feel like they are going to try to make it seem casual, to slide back in without acknowledging what they did. The cards are showing me a message or a moment that is dressed up as light, but carries a current of urgency underneath. I feel like you will be able to feel the difference because the energy behind it will not match the words on the surface. There will be something slightly too eager, slightly too available, slightly too present compared to how they have been. The cards are showing me that this reach out is not coming from a place of confidence. It is coming from a place of need. I feel like, and this is important, that need is real. It is not manufactured. It is not another test. The panic they are sitting in is genuine, and it is moving them toward action in a way that strategy never could. The cards are also showing me that this person may reference something small as a reason to connect. A question, a shared interest, something low stakes that gives them a way in without full exposure. I feel like that is their way of opening a door without fully committing to walking through it yet. The cards are showing me that underneath that opener, there is a lot more they want to say and are not ready to. The real conversation is building behind the casual one, and it will come, just not all at once. I feel like this person is going to test the temperature before they say what they actually mean. The cards are showing me that they are looking for a signal from you, something that tells them the door is still open. I feel like once they feel that signal, even a small one, the real version of them starts to come forward. The cards are also showing me that there is a possibility of this person becoming quite present, quite quickly. Like a switch flipping, once they decide they are going all in, they do not do it halfway. I feel like the version of them that shows up after this reach out could be significantly more available than they have been. More attentive, more communicative, more willing to show that they care without wrapping it in a game. The cards are showing me that what is coming from them is an attempt at repair, even if they do not call it that. I feel like they want to course correct. They want to undo the distance they created. They just do not quite know how to do it gracefully. The energy around their upcoming action is humble, even if the exterior tries to look composed, because something in them understands that they played themselves, and the only way forward is through honesty. The cards are also showing me that this reach out could happen sooner than you expect. The discomfort they are in is not something they can sit with for long. Action is their way of releasing pressure. I feel like the energy around their timing is within days, not weeks. There is an urgency that is already building. The cards are showing me that when it comes, you will feel it arriving before it fully lands. Something will shift in the atmosphere between you two, a slight softening, a subtle opening. I feel like that is your signal that this person has made their decision and they are moving toward you. The cards are confirming that the next chapter of this dynamic begins with them coming back on very different terms than before. The cards are also showing me that when this person reaches out, there will be a quality of effort to it. Not grand gestures, but a visible care in how they choose their words, how they approach you. The cards are showing me that they have thought about how they want to be received and they are going to show up differently. The cards are confirming that what is coming from this person is someone who has been humbled and is ready to be real. Now let's go ahead and dive in. Let's keep going and see what else is here, because we are going to the layer now that this person would never willingly show you. The cards are pulling up the things that live underneath the surface, the confessions that have no voice yet. I feel like the very first hidden thing the cards are showing me is admiration. This person is genuinely, privately, deeply impressed by you, and that impression has rattled them. The cards are showing me that when you did not chase, something in them shifted from surprise to awe. I feel like they have replayed that moment more times than they would ever admit, and each time it hits differently. Because deep down, this person respects strength, real strength, not performed toughness, but the kind that is just quietly there. The cards are showing me that they are sitting with the realization that you have more of that than anyone they have encountered in a long time. I feel like that realization is both exciting and destabilizing for them because it means they cannot run their usual script here. The cards are also showing me a hidden confession around attraction, one that has grown since you did not move. Not shrunk, not cooled, grown, because there is something about someone who holds themselves with that kind of steadiness that this person finds magnetic. I feel like the pull they feel towards you right now is stronger than it was before the test. And that was not the plan. The cards are showing me that they are privately grappling with how much they want your attention specifically. Not anyone's attention, not general validation, yours, and the specificity of that wanting is something they have not admitted aloud. The thought of your energy, your time, your presence going to someone else does something uncomfortable to this person. The cards are showing me that they have caught themselves feeling territorial, and that feeling confused them. Because you cannot feel territorial about someone you were only casually testing. That level of reaction implies something deeper. The cards are also showing me a hidden confession around regret, a quiet one that has been building. This person wishes they had approached this differently from the beginning with less armor and more honesty. I feel like they can see with painful clarity the version of this connection that could have existed if they had just been straightforward. That imagined version, the one where they were real with you from the start, haunts them a little. The cards are showing me that they are also sitting with a private fear, one they would not say to anyone. The fear that they permanently damaged something that could have been extraordinary. I feel like that word sits in them, extraordinary, because that is genuinely how they think of the potential here. The cards are also showing me a hidden desire for a do-over, a chance to show you who they are without the games. They want you to see the version of them that exists underneath the strategy, the one that is softer, more genuine, more worth knowing. I feel like part of what is driving their upcoming reach out is this private wish to reintroduce themselves, honestly. The cards are showing me that there is also a hidden confession around loneliness in this person. Not the surface kind, but the kind that comes from keeping people at arm's length for so long. The walls start to feel like a prison. I feel like they are tired of the strategy, tired of managing connections like transactions, tired of never quite letting anyone in. The cards are showing me that you touched something in them that made them aware of that tiredness in a new way. I feel like there is a secret desire in them to be known by you, not just wanted, actually known. To have someone see through the armor without them having to dismantle it piece by piece, to just be understood. The cards are showing me that underneath everything, this person carries a yearning for something uncomplicated, something real. I feel like on some level, they believe that what could exist between you two has the potential to be exactly that. The energy of these hidden confessions is tender, it is honest, and it is pointing directly at you. I feel like the hidden confession that sits deepest in them is simply this: they do not want to lose you. The cards are showing me that the fear of losing you has become louder than the fear of being honest. And when that shift happens in a person, something significant is about to follow. The cards are showing me that this person is on the edge of that courage, closer to it than they have ever been. Now let's move into the next layer. Okay, now let's see what is here. Because the cards want to close this out with something grounding, something you can actually use. The near future energy coming through is one of movement, but it is a very particular kind of movement. I feel like what is coming is not chaotic, it is not overwhelming, it is actually quite deliberate and measured. The cards are showing me that the shift in this dynamic is going to continue in your favor, and it is going to do so steadily. This person is coming back into your orbit, but they are coming back changed. And the cards are showing that change is real. I feel like the version of them that returns is going to require something different from you than the version that left. Because a humbled person needs to be met with a different kind of energy than a confident one. The cards are showing me a near future that has a quality of honest negotiation to it. Not confrontation, not cold distance, but a real reckoning where both of you get to say what is actually true. I feel like that conversation, when it happens, is going to clear a lot of the fog that has been sitting between you two. The cards are also showing me that the potential outcome here is genuinely positive. If both people show up honestly, there is a version of this connection in the near future that looks very different from what it has looked like up until now. I feel like lighter, more direct, more mutual, more built on something real rather than something managed. The cards are showing me that this outcome is accessible, it is within reach, and it moves closer every day this person spends in their own discomfort. Now the advice the cards have for you is very specific, and I want you to hold it carefully. The first thing is do not rush to fill the silence even when they reach out. I feel like there is going to be a pull in you to immediately restore the warmth, to make things comfortable again. The cards are asking you to resist that reflex, not to be cold, but to let them do the work of showing up fully. Because the dynamic only truly shifts when this person demonstrates, not just implies, that they have changed their approach. I feel like you deserve to see the evidence before you extend the full version of your trust again. The cards are also saying respond from your center, not from your emotions in the moment. When they come back, there may be a version of you that wants to just say yes to everything because the connection is real and the feeling is there. I feel like the cards are asking you to stay rooted, to let the feeling be present, but let your discernment lead, because what you build from this point forward deserves a foundation that is not made of relief or urgency. The second piece of advice is to say what you actually need directly when the time comes. The cards are showing me that this person now has the ears for honesty in a way they did not before. I feel like what you ask for clearly, you are far more likely to receive because they are in a place of wanting to get it right. This is a rare window where someone is soft enough to hear you, and the cards are saying, use it. The cards are also saying, do not punish them indefinitely. That does not serve you either. I feel like the goal is not to keep this person in a state of uncertainty. The goal is a real connection on honest terms. Once they show up the way they need to, be willing to meet them there fully and without conditions. The third piece of advice from the cards is to stay in your own energy throughout this. I feel like the version of you that did not chase, the one that held steady, that is the version to keep leading with. Not as a performance, not as a strategy, but because that version of you is the most authentic one. The cards are showing me that this person fell harder for you because of who you are naturally, not because of anything calculated. I feel like continuing to be exactly that is the most powerful thing you can do going into this next phase. The cards are closing this reading with a very clear message for you. You did not lose anything by not chasing. You gained everything, including a version of this person that is finally paying real attention. I feel like the energy ahead of you in this connection is some of the most promising I have seen. Not because it is perfect, but because it is finally becoming honest, and honesty is where real things begin. The cards are showing me that you are walking into something that has the potential to be genuinely meaningful. The cards are also showing me that the near future holds a version of this connection that has room to breathe. The cards are showing me that this experience, as uncomfortable as parts of it have been, was necessary. Take care, and I will see you in the next one. The near future energy coming through is one of movement, but it is a very particular kind of movement. I feel like what is coming is not chaotic, it is not overwhelming, it is actually quite deliberate and measured. The cards are showing me that the shift in this dynamic is going to continue in your favor, and it is going to do so steadily. This person is coming back into your orbit, but they are coming back changed.